All right, after trying to figure this out for 100 million years, I can finally start my stream. Uh, Thank you guys all for watching. I first want to start off by saying happy birthday to Mr. Donald Trump. Turns 78 years old today, and we will be talking about him later on this video. There's a lot that's happened this week, but first I want to start with how much Star Wars has fallen. Oh my God. It seems just like yesterday Disney bought them, and there was definitely a lot of hope behind it because George Lucas seemed like he was pretty much done with everything Star Wars related. He didn't have the energy to put into it. And a lot of us were very hopeful because we just wanted new Star Wars content. But we also wanted good content. So we all know the movies have been garbage. The shows have been garbage, but the biggest one lately has been The Acolyte, which is the new Star Wars show. And just from these two clips, I knew this show was just going to be garbage. When your own actors don't even understand or know the show or any of the previous any of iterations of Star Wars, you know it's not going to be good. So I'll just play these two clips real quick.
Who died on that? Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star. How many people died on that?
Yeah, so there's that. He says Anakin.
Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star. How many people died on that? Well,
Anakin killed the Death Star. Anakin. And again.
I did get in trouble for this answer at Star Wars Con. I got heat.
Yeah.
And in my mind, it's so funny to me because it literally, as a person who's outside and just a fan coming in, that was what was so beautiful and interesting to me. You know, people have been talking to me online about how Darth Vader is such a bad person. It's very clear, and it's very well established from those actions. But if you can't look and see that Anakin blowing up the Death Star possibly killed millions and millions of people, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this right now.
Literally 2 different times. He could have caught himself the first time. Someone could have told him the first time he was wrong and fixed it. He did it 2 different times. This is how much people are actually know this show. It's crazy to me how little they know about this. And this is just the start of it, really. This is insane to me.
Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star. How many people died on that?
You should just show it.
Well, Anakin just...
How are you going to say? And then the reviews just have not been friendly. So IMDb has given this a 3.8 out of 10. 3.7 actually out of 10. Look at all these 21,000 one-star reviews. Oh my God. And then Rotten Tomatoes, 86% for their critics, and then 17% for the audience. So which is right? And this is honestly, Star Wars Disney is when I stopped trusting Rotten Tomatoes. Because if you look at, pull this up quick, The Last Jedi, which might be the worst movie to ever exist in the history of time, got a 91% by the critics and then a 41% by the viewers. So who's wrong there? You know, how can they be so separated like that? It just doesn't make any sense to me at all. How can they? So you can't trust these critics. So 17%, I think it actually was at 30% before, and then episode 3 came out, and it just went all downhill, let's just say. And then you just have stuff like this. I don't even know what this is supposed to be. But it's just...
The power of many. The power of one. The power of two. The power of many.
Like, what? Like, I understand, like, in the original Star Wars, like the Clone Wars stuff, they had like witches and stuff, like on Dathomir, where the Darth Maul's from, they had witches and everything, but like, this just looks like a cult.
The power of
It's just not good. It's horrible. And you have articles that just show how out of touch they are with their fans. So this says how the Acolyte wove queerness and lesbian space witches into Star Wars. Yeah, so that was clearly the priority here, not being loyal to your fans and giving them what they want. You had to push it this direction. It says, luckily, queer director Leslie Headland's new Disney Plus Star Wars The Acolyte is another very welcome breath of fresh air in the galaxy far, far away, and his most recent episode centering on a coven of lesbian space witches. Lesbian space witches. And then they wonder why no one wants to watch their stuff. Like, who is this for? Not to mention the main two girls in the show right here. But they had two moms right here. They somehow had a kid, no man. They did it the Anakin Skywalker way, which pretty much negates anything to do with Anakin Skywalker. Anakin Skywalker's not special anymore because apparently anyone can just be born from the Force. You don't have to be the chosen one. You can just, anyone can do it, right? That's what this is saying. So it's like, so what makes Anakin special? And it's like, apparently they're calling the Force the thread now for whatever reason. And just to show how much of a waste of money this is, they had a budget of $180 million. To put that in perspective, Dune 2, which is the biggest movie of this year so far, had a budget of $190 million. And The Acolyte, I think it's supposed to be, what, like 8 episodes? So that's like, I think, $22 million an episode put into this show. And it's just, yeah, it's not going to go anywhere. That is complete garbage and a waste of money. And this just shows how out of touch Disney continues to be, because all the fans have been showing that they don't want this crap. They don't want that. Like, there's no storytelling. There's no effort being made into the show. There's no effort being made into the writing. They're just pushing DEI and woke agenda into the shows just to show how virtuous they are. Like, there's nothing. If you look at all the Star Wars movies, they're garbage. They had a chance when they came out The Force Awakens. It wasn't a good movie, but if you looked at it by itself and not as a Star Wars movie, it wasn't bad. It could have been a lot better. But they could have branched off from that, listened to the fans, made improvements, and brought in all this money. Instead, they made the worst movie ever. They made these spin-off movies that weren't good. They made these TV shows that weren't good, and they continue to. They continue to not care what the fans want. And then they're going to continue to lose money because they just keep pushing stuff like this. I just don't get it. Like, what their issue is. And then this is honestly perfect. South Park called it here.
Put a chick in it, make her gay.
Well, then maybe we should go a different route than we did with Indiana Jones.
Fuck Indiana Jones, put a chick in it, make her name it gay. Put a chick in it,
Like,
make
it
her
couldn't
gay.
be more accurate. And you can see people, no one likes this. Star Wars has fallen to the woke feminist Nazis. Star Wars has been bad since Lucas let them go. Guess some fans missed the memo that Galaxy Far Away is all about inclusion. Yeah, apparently. And I mean, look at this, is their stock. That's a big dip. I guess they just don't care. I think it's to the point where they're just like, I think they're so far gone that they don't want to turn back, and they feel like either way they're going to make someone mad. So they're so committed that they're not going to change any of their ways. They're just going to be like, okay, this is our path now. Hopefully people eventually go through with it, and people aren't. I actually have a friend from work who's a huge Star Wars fan. I literally have even heard him say like a year or two ago that there's nothing that would get him to stop watching Star Wars. Like they could put up the biggest crap there is, and he'll just continue to watch it because he was that big of a fan. I texted him about the show a week or two ago, and he actually said he's refusing to watch it. Like, he got to the point where he's done with this show, and that's going to continue to happen going forward unless Disney actually listens to their fans. Now, will they? Probably not, because they don't seem to learn the lesson when it comes to anything. Because they are Disney. And it's just sad. And it's sad that's what Star Wars has become. But, you know, all we can do is just continue to stop watching and hope they learn their lesson, you know? But let's move on to the next topic, which I don't know how much you guys follow the Biden-Harris Twitter page, but it is, if you want a good laugh, it's hilarious how, like, so much misinformation. That's how I'll put it. So they put this a couple days ago. Headline inflation May 2024, 0%. So I think what they meant was inflation didn't change month over month. I think it stayed, I was at like 3.4%. So I think April stayed at 3.4, May stayed at 3.4. And they're celebrating that. And they're saying 0%. And obviously, no one's buying it, right? No one's believing it. I feel like they're just trying to mislead people and think that he's doing a good job, and he's not. This is misleading 101. You have stuff like this where they're taking Donald Trump completely out of context. Said, I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I think they even made a campaign ad for this. And it was completely out of context. And I think this might be it.
On anybody going on me, we need every voter. I don't care about you. I just want your vote. I don't care. See, now the press will take that and they'll say he said a horrible thing. They'll say he said, you know what they did? I was just doing a little imitation of this.
He literally called them out saying this is what they're going to do. And Biden still did it. And I feel like the reason that his administration does stuff like that is because they think the people that support him are so beyond stupid that they're not going to check anything, which some of his supporters might be that stupid. But they know that people are not going to check any of this. They're going to be like, oh, wow, Trump said something mean. Okay, I can't vote for him. Stuff like this. This is how they get you. It's so misleading. Oh, this is a good one.
Will be gone within a period of that because the woke stuff will be gone within a period of 24 hours, I can tell you.
So he said the woke stuff's going to be gone. And the Biden-Harris campaign decided to translate that for us. Trump says he will end, quote, the woke stuff in 24 hours if elected, hinting at his Project 2025 plan to ban abortion worldwide, nationwide, go after contraception, and restrict IVF. That's what they took out of that. Hinting. So I guess in their eyes, woke means supporting all that. So in reality, Trump has already said he's not doing anything about all three of those topics. Trump has said that out loud multiple times. He has tweeted it, posted on his Truth Social. And they're still pushing this. This was just, 5 days ago. He said this months ago. Because they know people that follow them don't actually seek the truth or actually know. Here it is right here. His post. I will never and will never advocate imposing restrictions on birth control or other contraceptives. This is a Democrat fabricated lie, misinformation/disinformation, because they have nothing else to run on except failure, poverty, and death. I do not support a ban on birth control, and neither will the Republican Party. It takes 5 seconds to check that. This one's good.
Trump's remarks are not at all, for all his calls for President Biden to undergo some kind of cognitive test, it's clear to say Mr. Trump's remarks are not at all coherent in these rallies. Mr. Trump's remarks have never been super coherent in his rallies. I'm not sure that I can weigh in on how much they have veered in the last couple of months, but this split screen has always been there, will always be there. They are different people.
So Trump's the one that's not coherent. They're literally saying Trump's the one not coherent. Like, what? Trump sounds just as good as ever. Trump speaks just as good as ever. He has all the energy in the world. Dude, like, I don't know when he honestly sleeps. It doesn't seem like he ever sleeps. Like, he's going strong, and they're going to act like he's not. Like, come on now. Like, how dishonest can you be? By the way, all these tweets I'm showing you is from their campaign page, only from this past week. This is literally only from like the last 5 days. They tweet so much, and it's all false. So it says, here is Mike Johnson calling to cut Social Security and Medicare.
The safety net programs, but the reality is they're headed towards bankruptcy. In just a few number of years, Social Security goes belly up. So does Medicare, Medicaid, all of these big spending programs, because we're drowning in debt. And so we've got to think about long-term reforms to those programs, the safety net programs, but the reality.
He didn't say anything about cutting Social Security or Medicare. He says reforming, which they do need to be reformed because they're, like he said, it's going to be bankrupt in like 10 years. So what do you do then? There needs to be some fix to this. I'm not saying, I think people, when they work their whole life, they deserve to retire at a certain, like in their 60s. I don't think they should be working until they're 80, like Ben Shapiro does and stuff. I think people deserve to retire, especially if you think of people like farmers or construction workers, stuff that are very heavily manual labor. But the way they're doing it now is just not the answer, especially because you can get Social Security for like anything. If you're an orphan, you get Social Security. If you have a disability, you get Social Security. Social Security was just meant for retirement and nothing else at first, and now it's used for literally everything. Like, if it was just for retirement still, there'd be plenty of money in there. So there needs to, like, if you want like disability here and other stuff, you need to split it up. You shouldn't just pull all from Social Security because, like he said, the money's going to run out. And then what are you going to do? People like me, probably you, other people who have paying in it for like over a decade now are going to get nothing out of it. And it's just a waste of money. It's like a waste of taxpayer dollars. So there needs to be some kind of reform. I personally, I don't know the answer 100%, but I'm also not a politician. This is something they all get paid a lot of money to do, a lot of money to figure out, and they need to do what's best for the American people. And I think the Democrat mindset is we're just going to leave this here and do nothing until it runs out. You can't do that. You got to figure it out before it does. You can't just print money until the end of time and expect the issue to fix itself. Like, you have to figure this stuff out. Here's another thing. So I'm going to talk a little bit later about Project 2025 because I think it's very interesting. This whole, I feel like I've only started noticing a month or two ago, but I feel like more and more people are starting to say Project 2025. So this is just a tweet I'm going to talk more about later. But this is Biden headquarters, 6 days ago? Trump's plan for America, Trump's Project 2025. By the way, it's not his, it's someone else. It's like a organization's thing that they say is connected to Trump. National abortion ban, not happening. Restrict IVF access, not happening. Family separation. I don't think he's separating them. I think he's just deporting all of them. So I wouldn't say that's separation. And the thing that gets me about the family separation thing, my fiance's brought this up before, so I think it's interesting, is that if you're American and you commit a crime, you go to jail and you're separated from your kids. Hopping the border or coming in here illegally is committing a crime. So you go to jail. So you're going to be separated from their kids. There's no difference there. And they, like, the liberals use this as a tactic to support immigrants just pouring into the country. Those people knew what the risk was when they came here. If you go rob a bank and you get arrested, you can't say, oh, I have a kid at home and they're going to let you go. No, you're going to jail and your kid's getting taken away from you. That's what happens here. In reality, I think they all should just be deported. I don't really support the whole born in America automatic citizenship thing. Most countries don't have that. So I think that needs to be changed too. Muslim ban, there was never a Muslim ban. There was just certain countries banned from coming here because of terrorism. Wild thing. Yeah, don't let terrorists in. That's a wild concept. Tax cuts for the ultra wealthy. Trump gave tax cuts to everyone. Everyone benefited from them, including the wealthy. And I don't think he's not planning on just doing it for the ultra wealthy. That's the thing that's misleading, and that's what's going to trick everyone if Biden gets back in office in 2025, because he's not extending those Trump tax cuts. So everyone is going to be paying more in taxes in 2025, not just the wealthy. And then the thing is, too, if you make the wealthy who own all the businesses pay more, what are they going to do? They're going to trickle it down to the everyday American, and the everyday American is going to be paying for it. So that's not true. Replace civil servants with MAGA loyalties. Well, I know Biden just passed a bill or executive order saying a bunch of these civil servants are like locked into their jobs or something. They can't be fired. I think if you're not performing at your job, no matter what it is, you should be able to get fired. I don't think you should just keep your job and just exist. And I think that's a mistake. And MAGA loyalists, he would probably, if it's civil servants that he can appoint, he's going to appoint people that he thinks can do the job, just like Biden appointed people to do the job. So that's just fear mongering. Guns in the classroom. I don't think he plans on doing this on a federal level. I think anything guns related is probably a state issue. So I don't think there's anything he can do there. This is hilarious. Order prosecution of political opponents. Who does that sound like? Who is the one right now putting his political opponent, indicting him over and over again, trying to get him in jail, trying to get him out of the running because he knows he can't win on his own? Who does that sound like? It's so funny when they bring that up, when they're the ones doing it. And pardon January 6th insurrectionists. Most of them, he never says he's going to pardon all of them blindly. Let's just start with that. Most of them were just walking. They don't deserve to be in a federal prison right now. Now, if you want to get into the argument of like the ones that were beating up police officers, destroying windows, stuff like that, then yeah, they probably deserve at least a little prison time. But if you're talking about the people that are just literally walking around, they don't deserve to be in prison. And it's wrong that they're in prison. And it's crazy how people fall for this stuff. You know, and these are the same people that will see like Free Palestine protesters protesting, destroying monuments, spray painting them, breaking into buildings. That's peaceful protesting. Walking around the Capitol is not. And then this, okay, so this last one. This was just today. I didn't expect to talk about this one. So, like I said at the beginning of the stream, it's Donald Trump's 78th birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. Trump. So Biden and Harris came up with 78 of Donald Trump's accomplishments for his 78th birthday. Oh, they gotta be good, right? So let's see what his accomplishments are according to Joe Biden's campaign. So you have the first one here. This one's good. Donald fell asleep a lot. Your candidate is literally nicknamed Sleepy Joe. It's about his bankruptcies or something. I guess when he was a businessman, failed. They try to say basically all of his, business dealings. He has started dozens of companies. Some are bound to fail, right? Donald Trump launched a political career on the racist lie Barack Obama wasn't born in America. Donald called for the death penalty and still won't apologize after their exoneration for the... Literally, this is what gets me about this, the 5 people from the 80s that people are still bringing up. When that was first announced and they were first accused or whatever, everyone thought they were guilty. Trump was like one of the kings of New York. He was just there. He was trying to help the city. Everyone thought they were guilty, but yet only Trump gets called out for it. 13. Donald was accused of saying the N-word. Yeah, because Joe Biden's never said that before. Donald was sued by a Justice Department for racial discrimination. this one's good. Donald became the first presidential candidate to say there'd be a bloodbath if he lost. Obviously, that was completely taken out of context. He was referring to the auto industry. We all know that, and they're still pushing that narrative. Donald failed to lead our country during COVID and suggested Americans inject themselves with bleach. He never, ever said anything about injecting with bleach. He literally said we should come up with a vaccine that kills the virus in your body. Never said anything about bleach. Another one taken out of context. Donald said there were very fine people among the crowd, white nationalists and neo-Nazis who chanted, "Jews will not replace us." He said there's very fine people, and I'm not talking about the white nationalists. Out of context again. Donald called veterans who gave their lives for our country suckers and losers. That was according to one person of an unknown source that no one else has been able to verify. Donald was impeached in 2019 and impeached in 2021 because they were looking for any possible reason to get him. Found liable for sexual abuse by a woman whose story didn't make sense, and how the state changed the statute of limitations for that 1 year specifically for something like that conveniently. And I'm pretty sure she accused 5 other famous people of doing the same thing. Like, what are the odds all of them did that? Let's see. Donald lied over 30,570 times as president. Okay, now do Biden. Bet you a tire. Look at this one. Donald cheated at golf. First off, I doubt it. He plays it religiously. He has all eyes on him. I think anybody would catch that. And 2, how is that relevant to presidency? Donald's media company lost $300 million in 1 quarter. Okay, so is Disney. So is Walmart. I don't see that it's going to come back up. Donald Trump does not propose cutting any of this stuff. He says a million times he's not going to touch it. So that's just lies. Donald had his former vice president refuse to endorse him. Okay. And celebrated overturning Roe v. Wade. He has done that. So you got something right here. Donald endorsed every state abortion ban in America. It's a beautiful thing to watch. I don't know about that. It's true. I know he doesn't. I know he thinks it's a state issue. He doesn't agree the liberal one's doing it, but he's not going to make a national one. So I don't. And he's also said some of the conservative states are too extreme. So I'm pretty sure this is just another BS lie. Let's see. Donald says she's some poor punishment for women abortions. Don't think that's true. Worst job. This is the thing that gets me too. Donald had the worst job record of any president in modern history. Yeah, there's this thing called COVID that happened. And no matter who the president was, that same thing would have happened. So, yeah, to say that is just BS. Let's see. Donald lit the fire of the Capitol insurrection on January 6th. Yeah, when he told everyone to go peacefully, he lit the fire. Let's see. Donald has promised to pardon violent rioters who attacked law enforcement. First, he said he promised to pardon people that were peaceful. He never said pardoning all of them blindly. He said it's got to look at it case by case. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Donald had an ally who was sent to prison. We probably all have had friends that have sent to prison, so that's a stupid one. Donald Trump was indicted 4 different times. He was. Conveniently, after he announced he was running for president, he was indicted. Conveniently. That's weird how that works out. You know? He said he would make America great. He did not. Hey, my money went a lot farther during Trump than it does during Biden. So, yeah, I don't agree with that 100%. I think most people wouldn't either. It's stupid. Oh. So it's just the lies they put in. Like I said, all this stuff was just from the past week. Like here, number one, you fell asleep a lot. This you? this is literally just the past week. And more to come. Honestly, you guys, don't follow it because you don't want to support him, obviously. But it's very interesting to look at. Highly recommend. If you want a good laugh, I say go for it, you know? But so that's it with the Biden-Harris. So we'll move on to the next topic. Wait, where's my? Give me 1 second. No. Which is Nick Merckx. He is back in the news. Now, what did Nick Merckx do this time? Well, he said there's no such thing as trans people. It's kind of funny. So let me play the clip and you guys can see for yourself.
Nick, the transphobe struggling against the trans game. There's no such thing as trans people. That's something that you created. So have fun with your little dreamland. But that shit's not even real. Let me break it down for you, right? Penis, dude. Vagina, girl, done. Come in here with that fucking trans.
It was pretty funny. And then he ended up doubling down on this like a day or two later.
People that disagree and people that agree, I don't care about the percentages or the cuts or whatever. It doesn't bother me. You know, I feel a certain way about all that. And I've said my piece, and I will remind these fucking people that, again, the little dream fantasy bullshit that they're living in is not real life. And not everybody has to dance to their tune. That's not how that works. You don't get to go around and point your finger in people's chests and say, hey, you live in my world. You think the way that I think. You believe the way that I believe. No. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. It never has been, and it never will be. So if you guys want to live like that, go ahead. Do what you want to do. Not me. And I don't need people to agree with me. I don't need no echo chamber bullshit. This is the way that my wife and I feel. This is the way that my family feels, the people that are closest to me. And we're going to speak our fucking piece. And that's it. And it might be a thing that goes around, you know, like, look, it's June. I get it, man. Everybody's like, woo. I mean, I don't fucking care.
So basically he's saying people are allowed to have different opinions, right? And that's the thing where people are freaking out because he says something that's against the norm or whatever, against what's allowed, you know? And the reason he even brought it up is because someone commented, I think, in his stream calling him transphobic. And that's the only reason he even brought it up. But you can see the media, of course, is all over this. Let's see. He says, no such thing as trans people. Living in a little dreamland. I think this had... No, maybe it didn't. That's him responding. Yeah, so it's just like people are freaking out about it. And if you guys don't remember, it's the same guy who back in, what was this, last June, he just has he's just making this a June tradition at this point. Every Pride Month is say something controversial. Last June, he had his Call of Duty skin removed for an anti-LGBTQ tweet. So what did he tweet? If you guys don't remember, he tweeted, where is it? Yeah, so this was a comment to a post, and he said, in a tweet, he said, Americans are in a sad place right now. Let people love. No, wait, that's not it. Where is his original tweet? Oh, right here. So he commented on this tweet right here where people are saying let people love who they love. And this was like a protest between the LGBTQ in a school because they're, especially in California, pushing a lot of this LGBTQ stuff on children. They're like 6, 8, 10 years old. They only learn about stuff. So he commented on it saying they should leave little children alone. That's the real issue. Nothing crazy there, right? Nothing wild. He's not being mean. He's not saying anything purposely hurtful. He's just saying leave the children alone. So that created a whole backlash. And he said he wouldn't apologize for it. He said, I don't feel like it's wrong. He doubled down on it. So because of this, he had his skin removed, exclusive skin he had for the game. I don't even think it came out yet. I think he was about to come out with it. And then a friend of his, Tim the Tatman, another streamer, asked for Call of Duty to remove it because he didn't support what they were doing. And this is a Twitch streamer. He had 6.7 million Twitch subscribers, 2.6 million followers on Instagram. He's a big name dude. He's definitely a millionaire off this stuff. And just something small like that, they tried to cancel him. And obviously it didn't work because, 3 or 4 months later, he signed a $10 million deal with Kick to exclusively stream on there. So all that outrage didn't work. And he's literally at the point where, he's got all the money in the world. You can't cancel someone that you can't buy. Like, people like this, you can't cancel because he doesn't care. It's like Dave Chappelle. It's like you can't. He's rich. He's probably set for life. You're not going to cancel him. And this is a 1-year contract for $10 million. That's a lot of money just to play video games, dude. That's the dream job right there. And Kick's been doing this with a lot of people. I think Aiden Ross has like $75 million deal or something like that. Like, Kick's really trying to grow. And I think it's going to hurt Twitch in the long run. But you have outrage, obviously, from people on X. Why does Nick Merck still have a Twitch account? Why is Twitch allowing transphobia during Pride Month? I like how they put it during Pride Month. So I guess they're fine in their 11 months, right? Why are brands still working with him? How is cultivating an environment of hatred and intolerance within Twitch community guidelines? So as of right now, he's not a Twitch streamer. He's a Kick streamer. So Twitch, I don't think can really, I guess they could ban him, but he's Kicked now. So it really doesn't matter, And then you have this. Nick Merckx, you're a bitch hack who can only keep your career together by pandering to bigots. Your only purpose is to take money from losers and mislead children into a life of hatred and intolerance. You are worthless than the shit that's constantly spewing from your mouth. Oh my God. That is crazy. And then I think he says, you only keep your career together pandering to bigots. Before he even said the first thing last year, he already had 6.7 million Twitch subscribers. That's an insane amount. His career is fine. His career is not going anywhere. So all these people can cry and complain. He's not going anywhere. And this is just going to, honestly, it might even make him more popular. More people might start watching him. You never know. Just like when they tried to put Trump on trial and then Trump raised more money than ever and became more popular than ever. When you try to cancel people for something so small, so trivial, it's, people not only giving their opinion, but it's one streamer. Who cares if one streamer thinks this? Nobody takes streamers' political views seriously. It's just, I don't know. I personally don't get it. But, that's one of them, I guess. So, yep, that's Nick Merckx. Let's move on to this next story. Is very sad, which is, I don't know if you've heard about this. I know her picture was going all over Twitter the other day. Well, not her picture, her video, because she's a psychopath. So this was from, when did this happen? Yeah, a few weeks ago. Fatal stabbing of 3-year-old outside Ohio supermarket took just seconds. Officers arrested 32-year-old Bianca Ellis of Cleveland while she was walking from the parking lot with a kitchen knife in her hand on Monday. So basically the story is this woman randomly went up to someone, a 3-year-old and a mom, stabbed both of them, ended the kid's life. The mom is still alive. She had non-life-threatening wounds. And it was random. She didn't know the people at all. She really just went up to them. And obviously there's something mentally wrong with her for her to do this. It's so unwarranted. This was outside Cleveland. And I never really thought much about this until I made a TikTok video about this the other day. Follow my TikTok if you haven't yet. talking about this
was
situation.
stabbed to death in a random attack in a grocery store parking lot. This happened just outside Cleveland, Ohio, where a woman came up to a boy and his mother, and they were both stabbed. The mother ended up surviving with non-life-threatening injuries. The suspect is 32-year-old Bianca Ellis, and apparently she did not even know either of them. So she just went up and stabbed them.
So people in the comments, which, like I said, I didn't even think about this because I was so kind of caught off guard by the fact that a 3-year-old's life was just ended that I didn't think much into it. But people are saying, oh, she's not Caucasian. They're talking about the color of her skin because, in any kind of other article, this is absolutely a hate crime, black women need to know. Any other article, wonder what race the woman is. If it was a white person attacking a black person, they go, white man attacked black woman, blah, 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 right? They always mention race. But the other way around, they don't. And you can see people here are not falling for it. They know how the media is. So they're all calling it out, saying that's a hate crime. Oh, that I wonder what color she is because the media is trying to hide it. Like, it's so obvious when they do that. 3-year-old white boy is stabbed to death by a black woman. State the facts. So, and like I said, I was so caught off guard by the fact that this happened. I didn't even think of that, but it's true. And they're running cover. They're not, and that's why the story isn't blowing up probably as much as it should. There's no riots in the street or anything because of that. But apparently, she claims she's killed before. Very strange. She's facing charges of murder, aggravated murder, attempted murder, and more. And she apparently pled not guilty to all 7 of her charges. Even though I think there's dash cam footage of her doing it. Attack. Let's see. Kern County criminal case records show Ellis was accused of 3 counts of misdemeanor battery charges in late January after being a patient at Kern Medical where she allegedly attacked 3 hospital staffers. Police reports say Ellis refused to leave the hospital after receiving treatment, and when security tried to remove her, she kicked 2 security guards and a nurse. No court hearings are scheduled in connection to those charges. Of course not. Let's see. In regard to the possible murder in Bakersfield, Ellis' depiction to white Cleveland police was vivid, describing in the court records the victim was a white female, approximately 5'6", 150 pounds, and was a bartender. So, yeah, I guess she's basically admitting she's done it before and got away with it. Police previously arrested Ellis on allegations of petty theft from a Walmart in Ohio and arrested her for a nonviolent crime in Florida. So, yeah, she's just insane. And you have people saying, so this is the kid right here, and then this is just mental.
2903.11A1 and or endangering children in violation of Ohio Revised Code section 2919.22B2. Count 4 alleges that on or about June 3rd, 2024, the defendant did knowingly cause serious
how sick do you have to be
to JW
to act like that
date of birth 10/29
in a court hearing
2020.
where the kid's parents are in there? She clearly has no remorse. Here's the kid. Really sad. So this person types, this face of pure evil smiles in court after stabbing a mother and a 3-year-old named Julian Woods to death. Bianca Ellis walked towards a mother and her child at a Giant Eagle in Cleveland, holding a kitchen knife in her right hand. When the mother passed Bianca, Bianca stopped dead in her tracks, turned around, and followed them to their car where she stabbed both of them. The details were too horrific to repeat. I can't stomach it. I'm in tears. This is too much. No national outcry, no MSN 24/7 coverage calling for justice, no gold casket. Why? Because he's just a white child. It doesn't fit their narrative. She needs the death penalty. I agree. He lives of TikTok joining in on this too. Apparently this is the judge. Meet Judge Brian Hagan. He released Bianca Ellis without a hearing just 4 days before she stabbed a 3-year-old to death. It was recommended she get a psych eval after she told cops she murdered someone and had multiple warrants out for arrest. Yet he decided to release her and now says he wouldn't do anything differently. So this could have been prevented if he actually, like, how do you see this and think, okay, you're mentally fit to be in society? This could have easily been prevented if you didn't have these judges who just either didn't care or were like, oh, well, this will look bad on me, so I'm not going to do my job. I'm just going to release them back out to the streets. Or you have these like judges in these liberal areas which Cleveland is liberal areas where they just release everyone back onto the streets immediately in the name of social justice. So it's just a sad day. This could have been a preventable death if people actually kept her locked up. And even like she obviously needed some kind of mental help. I don't know where the help was there, either mental asylum or therapy, something. Something was definitely off about her. And I don't even know what to say about it. Like, it's just sad that this happened to this kid. And I can only imagine what the parents are going through right now. Let's move on to something a little, maybe I wouldn't say happier, but might put a smile on some people's faces, depending on who it is. Oh, so Rachel Maddow is in the news again. Everyone's favorite liberal commentator. MSNBC host Rachel Maddow worried Trump may put her in an internment camp if he becomes president. This woman really thinks that. MSNBC host Rachel Maddow says she fears that Trump will put her in an internment camp in the event he is reelected this upcoming season. It's just, how can you think? You've already lived through 4 years of him. During an interview with CNN senior media reporter Oliver Darcy, Maddow was questioned about her concerns regarding potential victimization by the Trump administration if he wins the 2024 presidential election. She emphasized the seriousness of Trump's rhetoric, stating, he's not joking when he says this stuff, and we've seen what happens when people take power proclaiming that kind of agenda. Maddow also cautioned against complacency, warning that Trump's intentions might extend beyond targeting high-profile liberals. Do you think he plans to stop at well-known liberals, she asked, urging vigilance and awareness of the broader implications for the country. It seems clear that some politicians think they'll be on the safe side, maybe even benefit, if they even side with Trump. Ask Mike Pence how that worked out in the end. All Mike Pence was lose his VP spot for this election. He wasn't put in a camp. Trump didn't go assault him. All he did was just lose his spot. They became not friends anymore. That happens when you're an adult. So let's just show. This just shows too, like, how privileged she is. She is really so insanely privileged, and she tries to act like she's this victim, and she'll complain about women don't get paid enough, even though she's like the highest paid news anchor on the planet. And complains about women being oppressed, even though she could literally be like a beacon of hope or like a hero to women, like something to strive for. Instead, she just tells everyone to play the victim when she obviously worked hard to get to her position. She didn't. At least I don't think she did victim her way there. So she makes $30 million a year. $30 million just a year, 1 year. That's like a NFL salary. And even before that, she was making $7 million a year. And this was the contract with 2021. This is how rich she is. And she thinks she's going to get put in a camp. Like, you're not. You probably live in some mansion in some gated community away from real people. And you have this unrealistic view of the world because you're the mainstream media. You guys all have an unrealistic view of the world. You don't know what the real world is. You don't know what the real world everyday people go through because you've lost touch. You probably have a maid. You probably have a chef. You probably have someone cut your grass. All probably make, nothing. And you just go around life acting like your life is so hard and everything is a challenge, even though you have it made. You literally get paid $30 million to go on TV and spew Trump propaganda and spew all this hate for him and all this love for Biden and like all these lies. It's all she does is lie. And she works for what? 1 hour a day, maybe? Like on her show? Probably what, an hour max? And, you know, she's not like a podcaster where she has to do her own research. Other people provide her all of her notes. They provide her script. They tell her what to say, what to do. Easiest job on the planet. And you're going to sit there and be like a victim, like, oh, my life's so hard, I'm going to get put in a camp. You're not going to get put in a camp. And then you have, like, say, New York Post, worried, and then these comments are just great. Camp, she's going straight to the psych ward. And then another thing, too, right here, they literally just applauded Hillary suggesting they send Trump supporters into camps. You guys remember when Hillary said that? Let me see if I can find that real quick. Let's see. Sorry, I typed a little slow. That wasn't that long ago. Right here, 2023. Hillary Clinton suggests formal deprogramming for MAGA extremists who still support Trump. October 2023. Where was there was no liberal saying this was a bad thing. They all supported this. They would have loved if Trump supporters just went into camps and were disappeared from society. But then you're going to act like a victim because you think you're going to get thrown in a camp. That's just pure propaganda. That's all it is. Trump isn't making camps. He's not FDR with the Japanese. Even if he say he wanted to do that, right? If he wanted to do that, there is no way he would ever get any kind of support. Like, people don't understand. Like, we have Congress. You can't do most things without Congress approval. There's only so many things you can executive order. Like, you're not going to be a president up there and executive order everybody that's a liberal into a camp. Like, this is not going to happen. Like, and these people just live in a alternate reality that's just insane to me. Like, people think like this, you know? And I really, honestly, just don't get it. Like, I truly don't get it. Executive order. Sorry. It's just, I don't know when that's going to change. So yeah, she can keep being crazy all she wants and make her $30 million a year to cry about how hard her life is and get a pity party from people. But people are seeing through this stuff. This stuff isn't working as much as it used to, especially when you have a world like, I think mainstream media in general is dying. Like, her show, I honestly don't understand how they're paying her that much. There's no way MSNBC brings in that much money. You have all these independent podcasters, left and right, who provide real information, not just what they want you to see. They provide all, like, on the right, you have like Tim Pool, PBD, Crowder, Shapiro, all the big ones, right? The left, you have what? Chet Uygur, you have Destiny, Sam Piker, who I think is an idiot, but there are people on the left that stream too and have podcasts. Those are becoming way more popular because those people aren't paid to say things. They're in a sense, they're not. They're independent. They say what they want to say. They make money off it, but they say what they want to say. These people only say one point of view because that's what their bosses tell them to do. You know? So yeah, I think they're going to die out one day, especially because the average age of a person watches MSNBC, I think, is like 70. Another 10 years, they're not going to exist. And Rachel Maddow will be out of a job, and then she can cry about being a victim in her mansion. I hope she saves some of those millions of dollars that she has. The last topic I want to talk about, where is that? I don't know if I have it up. It is, wait, where'd it go? Sorry, technical difficulties, I'm slow. What is Project 2025. Now, I don't know if you guys seen a lot lately. I've been seeing a lot of people pushing Project 2025, liberals saying this is the end for women and women's rights, and everyone's going to be like not a slave, but like everyone's it's going to be horrible, right? It's going to be horrible to have Project 2025. And I don't ever hear conservatives talking about this. Trump has never mentioned this once, but yet somehow it's always connected to Trump. You have the liberals, the Biden page, like I showed you earlier in this video, is posting about it. I see TikToks, people crying about it. I think Joy Reid even mentioned something about it. So what is it exactly, right? So this is June 9th, so this is a big thing recently. If you were on Twitter or TikTok over the weekend, you might have seen people talking about Project 2025. Led by the right-wing think tank, the Heritage Foundation, Project 2025 is a presidential transition operation, basically a government in waiting if President Donald Trump returns to office in 2025. The $22 million effort does not say it's specifically intended for Trump, but it wants a conservative as the next commander-in-chief. So basically, it's an organization that is voting for the Republican candidate no matter what. So whether it was Trump, DeSantis, Vivek, they were going to support the Republican candidate. Now, they are not a part of the government. They're not affiliated with anything. They're just basically like a donor. I feel like this would be the equivalent of like George Soros donating to the liberals, right? But because of this whole thing they created, people think this is exactly what Trump is following, even though Trump has not mentioned this once. So this is straight from their website. Actions of liberal politicians in Washington have created a desperate need for a unique opportunity for conservatives to start undoing the damage the left has wrought. Let's see. The project will build on 4 pillars that will collectively pave the way for an effective conservative administration, a policy agenda, and personnel training in a 180-day playbook. So basically, they created this thing, and they'll just be like, hey, Trump, here, have this. And Trump will probably throw it away because Trump does what he wants. He's not going to be told what to do, right? And this is, like I said, this is a third-party independent organization. I think the only reason, so the only reason I say it's Trump-related is because former chief of staff of the Office of Personnel Management during the Trump administration serves as the director of the transition project. So someone that worked for Trump during the Trump administration is high up with this organization. So naturally, they're all saying this is what Trump wants to do. This is what Trump wants to do. But like I said, Trump has never mentioned this. And I doubt he will, because a lot of these things that apparently they want to do, supposedly, I didn't read it. It's like 1,000 pages. But from what I've seen, some are even extreme for a lot of conservatives. And it just doesn't make sense. So if you look at the Wikipedia page, which I know Wikipedia is not the best source, but it's the only way I can get like a clear vision of what they want to do, right? So this says Project 2025, also known as Presidential Transition Project, is a collection of conservative policy proposals from the Heritage Foundation to reshape the U.S. federal government. So this is their vision. Project 2025 envisions widespread changes across the government, particularly economic and social policies, and the role of the federal government and its agencies. The plan proposes slashing funding for the Department of Justice, dismantling the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security, sharply reducing environmental and climate change regulations in favor of fossil fuel production, eliminating the Department of Commerce, and ending the independence of federal agencies such as the FCC and the FTC. The blueprint seeks to institute tax cuts, though its writers disagree on the wisdom of protectionism. Project 2025 recommends abolishing the Department of Education, whose programs would either transfer to other agencies or terminated. Funding for climate research would be cut, while the NIH would be reformed along conservative principles. Okay, so let's just stop here for a second. There's a lot to take in, right? So the DOJ, we know firsthand, is corrupt. So I don't see anything wrong with slashing funding, right? Then you have the FBI and the DHS, which when they talk about slashing funding for this stuff, there's so many jobs in those organizations that are do-nothing jobs. They're getting paid to literally do nothing. They're living off our tax dollars. And the FBI pretty pretty much exists to spy on Americans. And it's not needed. The whole climate change initiative too just doesn't even like the stuff they want to do with climate change isn't effective. Like if you want everything wind powered, you're gonna have to have like every square inch of the world have a wind turbine. And those things make a lot of noise. They are ugly and they're just not efficient. They constantly need maintenance worked on them. And you're talking about solar panels, that's not there technology wise either. One day it could be, but it's just not. So if you want to push these climate things, go ahead, but there still needs to be more research done into these topics. Like this whole these states are doing, like my state of Maryland is making it to where you can't sell gas powered cars after the year 2035. That's just not practical. If you want to produce electric cars, but you need to do it naturally. If you're forcing it like that, the infrastructure of electric cars is not there. New houses to this day are not being built with plugs or the electrical circuit to charge electric cars. So you're going to have all these people with electric cars and nowhere to charge them. And the electric grid isn't there yet either. Like California is constantly having issues with their electric grid. So, and I think they want to do it by 2030. So the technology just isn't there. And if you want to factor in the fact that the charging stations still require oil to use, you have to sit there for 30 minutes to charge, which is just who wants to do that. And then also, does anybody ever think about how you dispose of those big ass batteries in those electric cars? That can't be good for the environment. And we don't even know how long those batteries last too. Like if you get a nice car like a Toyota or a Honda, you can make that thing last 20 years. We're just now seeing like Tesla batteries die, and Tesla is the oldest one, the most trusted one, and they've only been around, 12 years? And their batteries are already starting dying. So there's just so much that needs to be, I think, thought of first. And then if you want to factor in that we all live on the same planet, China and India are still doing what they're doing. It doesn't really matter what we do. They emit more CO2 than we ever could. So us doing our little things isn't going to help anything if China still continues to do what they're doing, which they are going to, because our American companies get all their products from China. So these American companies are all for climate change, have no problem with China burning all that stuff in there and all that pollution in their factories and stuff because they're profiting off of it. So another reason it's never going to change. It's just going to hurt us, the American people, the taxpayer, the most. They recommend abolishing the Department of Education. I agree, because the education system is horrible. Kids have gotten dumber since that's even been implemented. The standards have gotten easier and the kids have struggled more. Figure that one out. You're making it easier for them to pass. You can literally pass if you're too old for an age now. Like in Baltimore, there was, I think in the whole Baltimore city, every school, there's like 30 some schools. No student was proficient in math recently. Not one student. But yet they have the highest school funding in the whole state of Maryland. So what is the Department of Education doing about that? Nothing. And its funding and climate research would be cut, and the NIH would be reformed along conservative principles. First off, the past 3-4 years, we all know what the NIH has done, and that's been a part of the reason why the whole pandemic was a nightmare, because they made things horrible for us. They were jerks. They locked us down. They put all this BS that just didn't need to be there. And it just wasn't fair to the rest of us, what they did to us. And that's a big part of Fauci, and that's a big thing with the government in general. And they do need to be defunded, because they were the ones funding the virus in China. The project urges government to explicitly reject abortion as health care. Trump says it's a state issue. This is where it gets weird, right? They keep pushing this. Trump wants to push a national abortion ban. He doesn't. He doesn't want to touch it. He wants to leave it to the states, which is what the Supreme Court said. So nothing's happening there. Eliminate Affordable Care Act's coverage on emergency contraception. I know he wants to do things with the Affordable Care Act. I've never heard him say anything about the contraception part. I think he's not touching that. So that's more fear mongering. seeks to infuse the government with elements of Christianity. I think even big Christians know there's a separation between government and church and state, or whatever. That's not going to happen. Proposing to criminalize porn. I don't know if that's happening. I've never heard that. So I'm not sure where they got that from. Removing legal protections against discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity, and terminating DEI programs as well as affirmative action. I think all that should be gone. Obviously, you shouldn't discriminate against sexual orientation or gender identity, right? We all know that's a horrible thing. But because of some of these protections in place, they're basically untouchable in their jobs, because say they are doing a bad job, but they just happen to be the only gay person that works for you. If you fire them, they could sue you and say it's because they're gay and they're the only gay person there. And how would you fight that? Same thing if you're a minority. If you're the only minority there, you get fired. Lawsuit. So these programs just don't work. I think they had somewhat good intentions when it came to these, but they don't work like they want them to work. Same with affirmative action. Like, you're literally just hiring people based on the color of their skin. And you shouldn't do that. So this is basically just a idea of what Project 2025 is. And I think I already showed this too. I will never advocate imposing restrictions on birth control or other contraceptives. He never has. He's never going to. But yet they keep saying he will, right? And then, of course, Biden-Harris had a tweet on his birthday. I think I showed this one earlier. His Project 2025 wish list. They're just attacking him hard on his birthday. Like I said, he's not doing national abortion ban. He's not restricting IVF access. Like, he's not doing these things they're saying he's doing. This is all literally just fear mongering that the left has just been the absolute master of and continue to try to this day. And it works for some people. Some people do fall for it. You know, I mean, we all saw it with the mask. How many people fell in line with that without even questioning it? That whole experience was a perfect example on how much the government can control people. You know? And obviously, it was worse in some states than others. Like in Maryland, we had mask mandates for a long time. You know, and I know Delaware, they had mask mandates, got rid of them, and then brought them back, like after everyone else already got rid of them. But then you have states like Florida that were only closed for like 2 months and then completely wide open. So yeah, it's all about the whole thing with them is fear mongering, control, all that. And we saw during that who they can control and who they couldn't. And there's still people to this day they can control. And they know that people aren't going to fact check them on stuff like this. They're just going to blindly be like, oh, he wants to do that. And that's why it's so important to see different sides to things. You shouldn't, and even the conservatives too, you shouldn't just blindly follow just one side or one thought process or one anything. You should look at both sides to everything and be able to get your facts from there. See different opinions, see different news sources, see how they turn it on based on their views, right? And then you can get your own opinion based on that. You should never just only blindly follow one way of thinking, because you're never going to grow as a person if you do that. And there's people on the right that definitely do that, but people on the left, I think it's more common. You know, it's that mindset of you need to agree with me on every single thing or I'm not going to talk to you. It's really toxic. That was my last topic for today. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow my channel. Thank you all for watching this. It's my first live stream ever on YouTube and Rumble, and it's been awesome. I'm going to try to do these more often when I can. So thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys thought of it. Hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll see